Welcome to the Pepper Soup Talk Show, where we bring to the table movers and shakers in the African diaspora.
Thank you.
Our guest today has built an illustrious career in the tech space. She is the owner of multiple brands around information technology. She's an event marketer, and she is someone who's really helped pave the way for a lot of Black women, especially, who are interested in tech and pursuing a career in tech. And so we're very excited to have this conversation with her today. And so welcome to Pepper Soup Talk, Jumoke Dada.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Welcome to the talk show. Welcome to the talk, the real talk. Right? So we have Jumoke. She's bold. She's a game changer, and she's disruptive. Right, and she's going to places where most of us don't want to go, right? Most of us are kind of afraid to go.
Say that again?
Most of us are a little bit like on the edge and not to go, right?
No fear.
Right. So so let's just dive in.
Okay. Glad to be here.
So let's start from the beginning. So can you tell us about where you're from and you know your background? We know you're Nigerian.
Yeah.
From your name Jumoke. Mm-hmm. You know, so Seku's Guinea. I'm from Nigeria. But,
nice.
But for our audience, if you can talk a little about who you are and where you're from.
Sure. So like I can share it already. I'm Nigerian American. Mm-hmm. I was raised in New York, so primarily in Brooklyn, New York, and again two immigrant parents. That came here for a better life and raised us, me and my siblings, etc. So. Mm-hmm. I moved to Philadelphia. I came here for college, and I started my career. So before college, I actually didn't. I know we'll jump into my story, but before college, I didn't think I would be doing what I'm doing now. So it's just interesting, but it's interesting because when I look back, I see how everything was just aligned and I am doing exactly what I should.
What did you think you'd be doing?
You know what? It's interesting. So two things. One, I wanted to work in entertainment. I wanted to work in entertainment. I was very artistic. I was I am very creative. I was heavily into dance and song and music. And I wanted to work in entertainment and as a marketer. So that's just what I had in mind. But then there was part of me, Nigerian parents, like, oh, you should go to law school. You should be a lawyer, because I was just always trying to not fight, but just stand up for people or make sure things were fair or just speak about things when I was passionate about it. So it was between law and entertainment.
Okay.
But I ended up in Philly for college and graduated and started my career.
And you went to Temple?
Went to Temple, go Owls. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went to Temple.
Okay. And at Temple, did you begin pursuing that entertainment track or law track, or what was that?
No. So another thing, so I skipped a year of school. So I started college when I was 16. Okay. So when I came, I was young and I was just trying to figure it out. So I started college. I didn't know what I was going to major in.
Did you? Were you born in Brooklyn?
No, I wasn't born in Brooklyn.
Were you born in Nigeria?
I was born in New York, but not Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I asked that because I know sometimes when people immigrate here to the U.S., they may end up skipping some years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
So you were just skipping grades. They were just saying, let's put her to the next.
I was a bit of a geek, honestly. Yeah.
She was smart. She was a smart one.
Yeah.
I was. I am. I was. I remember I almost skipped 2 years of school, but I remember my parents thinking that was too much. Because I was also very small, so I think they just thought it was just.
She was too cool for school.
I was a geek. I was a cool geek, but I've always been a bit of a geek. But yeah, so I forget the question, but yeah, I started
Like the track, so you started with entertainment law.
So when I got to college, right? Because when I got to college, I was just kind of younger and I was just trying to figure things out. So I didn't go in really clear on what I would major in. I think I was like liberal arts. But long story short, it came time for me to declare a major, and I had actually hosted an event on campus. So one of the other things about college is that I was really active on campus, and that was really what kind of honed my kind of like organizing, event planning skills, because I like served on different boards. Like I was on student government and student life and planned events on campus for students. So that really kind of just opened my eyes to that planning space. So long story short, I ended up getting an internship at a magazine in New York. So it was a music magazine. So I did that. And then after that semester, I remember coming back and I was just like, I don't think I want to work in entertainment. I don't think this is the way I should go. And so I started trying to figure out, all right, well, what am I going to major in? Because I gotta get out of here. And I started kind of paying attention to my coursework, and I saw that I was strong in not strong, but I was doing well in math and science. And I just started narrowing things down. Like, all right, I know I don't want medicine. My both my parents are in the medical field. And I knew that I didn't want that. And then I knew that I didn't want engineering. So then I just said, okay, well, computers. And this was,
So at this point, you had X'd out all the
like
routes
science.
that Nigerian parents tend to, doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Doctor, lawyer, engineer, right? Because when I remember choosing computer science, and I remember my dad was like, "Why are you going to computers? Like, why are you studying computers?" And so I chose that. I chose computer information science, and that was it. I mean, I can't say that I loved it, but I found it challenging, and I finished. So, and then right after college, I started working. Like I went to a career fair on campus, and met a recruiter. And long story short, they ended up hiring me. So I started working in computer science immediately. Like before graduation, I had a job. So,
did you always have? Were you always planning events? Because I know that especially in Philly, from what I've observed, you've become very known for a lot of the events you've planned and like the bringing people together and the different networks that you've built. Is that something that came earlier on, or something that sort of happened as your career evolved?
So it happened in college. It's like now looking back, I can clearly see like when I was in it,
like what the dots
but now I connect the dots to my parents being in STEM, me ending up in STEM, the creative side of me with the events and bringing people together when I was on campus to now bringing women together. So I wasn't always into events. I just knew that I would have these ideas of things that I just didn't see happening, and I wanted to produce them. So I was working in tech, and I actually went through a period where I left it, and I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Like everything that exists now with women in tech and support systems, etc., it just didn't exist back then. And I just remember trying to just figure out my life. Like, all right, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to move back to New York, or am I going to stay here, or what am I going to do? And in the end, I ended up starting a company. So I started my own company. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do tech. I started my own company, and I got my real estate license. So I said, you know what? I can do that to make money. So I was like selling real estate and buying.
And was the company a real estate company? Or?
No, it was so it's my current company, Signature Red, but I initially started it as like a marketing company for women. So it was like women targeted marketing, like events and supporting women entrepreneurs. So I started that. I just kind of went totally left from tech, and I was producing all kinds of events, like golf events, Dress for Success events, how to network, everything 101, how to take care of your cars 101, networking 101, everything. So I was producing these events for women, and I liked it. Like I liked that I had an outlet to bring my ideas to life and help other people. And educate too, because now again looking back, I see that everything that I do has elements of education, community building, and like advocacy or empowerment. Like everything that's like been consistent in everything I've done in tech and events, everything. So. And
what inspired you to go that entrepreneurial route? Because you said that you kind of left from the job you had in tech, and a lot of people may have just gone to find another job. Yeah. Like you said, like, I'm going to start my own company. You decided to get a real estate license, which is also entrepreneurial too. Like what drove you in that direction?
Well, two things happened. So one, the company that I was at downsized. Like they was giving packages to all like people that had worked there for years, and those of us that hadn't worked there for years, we were given packages, etc. And then I could have looked for another job, and I thought about it, but I said, you know what? I don't want to. I'm like, I want to do something else. Like, as I shared, I was already kind of in a space where I'm like, you know, what am I going to do? Am I going to move back to New York or what? So I said, you know what? I think I'm just going to do my own thing. And I figured out, like, again, I went to school for technology, so I'm not a business person. I wasn't. I had to learn everything. Like, I figured out how to start incorporate and how to do other things, and I had some technical skills so I can put together a website and things like that. But I just decided, I just said, you know what, I want to do my own thing, and if anything, if I don't like it, then I'll get another job. So that's what I did. So I started my company Signature Red, and again, I was producing events and I was selling real estate. And then fast forward, it was during the Obama administration. I just remember I was hearing stuff about like women in tech or women in STEM, and we need more girls in tech. I had went to this summit. I had heard about this women in tech summit, and I went, and I was just like, oh wow, like look at all these women. Like where have y'all been my entire career? Like, where have y'all been? I mean, I've had women working at my companies, but this was, I mean, I had never seen that many women in tech before in one space. So then my ears just kind of perked up to it, and I just remember starting to hear, where are the women who code? Where are the women with in STEM fields? We need more black girls who code. We need more girls to pursue STEM careers. And I just started hearing like, wow, like what's going on? Like I didn't even know that I was a thing, or that they were, you know, there was a need for women like myself to kind of come forth, you know? So I started hearing about that, and then a recruiter had reached out to me. I don't even remember how that happened. I think it was like on LinkedIn, and asked me if I would be interested in working on a project as a project manager at an entertainment technology company. So I was like, that's interesting. So that's what I did. So I said, okay. And that's how I started pivoting my company. So I went from producing like events, like these just general professional development events for women, to now being a consultant, like being an independent contractor. And I pivoted my general events to now tech events. So I started working as a technical project manager, and then outside of work, I was producing tech events for women. So,
and during this time, it was just you, or did you had any like support or help?
Yeah, it was primarily me, but definitely I had support for like different events. But I've always been a solopreneur.
Okay,
but
And let's just unpack this a little bit more. So women in tech, and so you start to really like follow your passions about tech, and then now you start hearing like we need more women in tech. Give us like a more like the reason, like why do you think it's so important to really make sure like we have women in this space?
Yeah, I think overall because, I mean, why not? One, and two, you just need diversity of thought, right? You know, you need different perspectives, and if everyone in the space kind of thinks the same, then
Yeah.
You know, how are we going to be able to solve a wide range of problems if you only have people with a certain perspective?
Yeah.
So you need women. You know, women. You know, we think about things, and I think I shared this somewhere else, that like we think about how we can make it more convenient for us to carry out gadgets and look cute,
Yeah.
you know, and come up with wearable tech and like things like that. Like, you just need different perspectives. Also, times have changed. You know, you have women that are the main providers in some households, or the only provider. So why not?
Yeah.
Why not? You know, why not? We're just as innovative, just as hardworking, just as smart. So why wouldn't we be there? So there's a need, because you need diversity of thought. You need, there's just large gaps to fill. There's so many jobs that are out there. Then why leave it to just, you know, why omit women?
Yeah.
So I just think that there's a need for jobs. There's a need for diversity of thought to solve problems, and we just make the world a happy place.
Right. Is it just to push you a little bit? Is there like a particular moment or events that personally happened to you that really sort of like embody everything that you shared with us?
I can't think that there was any one thing. I've honestly been really fortunate in my tech career. Like I've worked at great companies and taken on great projects. And when I was independent, I had the ability to choose what I would do and what I wouldn't. So I think honestly, a lot of my passion to advocate has come from hearing other people's horrible stories of what they've experienced at work, or even girls. Like, you know, I do remember in school, just, you know, I remember one specific professor, you know, just kind of basically like, you need to, you know, choose something else. I'm not going to choose something else. I'm going to finish this.
Yeah.
So it just really hit home when I was talking to a young woman. This was years ago, maybe like 6-7 years ago. And what she told me was the same thing that my professor told me. She was in college and she was struggling. She was I think a computer engineering major, I forget. And I'm like, all this time, you mean that we're still having to deal with this issue of girls or you know, young women trying to pursue a degree in this space, in the STEM space, and you have people trying to talk you out of it? No way. So I just was like, no way. You know, like, you need support, you need, you know, this, and there's so many of us women out there.
Yeah.
And that's in part what led to me creating this community. So while I was working in tech, like, you know, managing projects, I was just looking for more support. I told you I went to that one conference a few years back. So that led me to create the Tech Women Network, which is my online platform community. So I created it initially because people would ask me, hey, do you know a graphic designer? Do you know a web designer? Or just anything like that. And I'm like, I do, but I don't remember like who's doing that, and I don't know who's taking contracts, and it was just a lot. So I'm like, I just need to create a space where everybody can just talk to each other and find out what they need from each other. So I created it to be a resource where you can just search for people by their skill, regardless of whether you're connected to them. And that was it. And then I was spotlighting them. I started telling their stories, and just it grew from there. And then I started seeing women of color joining, and I was just like, where have y'all been? Like, you know, like, now I'm like going to tech, I'm like back in tech officially, and I'm going to tech conferences, and I'm applying to speak at places, and I see all these people, and I'm just like, I don't see y'all when I like on these panels, like, where are y'all? So that prompted me. I said, we need a summit. I had a dinner first.
Okay.
Here in 2018.
Okay.
fall of 2017. So I launched the Tech Women Network in the spring of 2017.
Okay.
Had the epiphany like, oh, there's more women of color. Had a dinner, fall of 2017. And I was just like, we need like a one-day summit to kind of come together. And again, this is how everything works for me, like ideas, visions, events. It's like we need to come together and we need to like talk about what's going on in the tech industry and what skills we need and what's just what should we know. And that's when the HUE Tech Summit was born. So I held the very first one the next year in May of 2018 as part of Philly Tech Week.
Something I'm observing from the conversation so far is your ability to see what needs exist, because you spoke about how you went to a tech summit years ago and or like a tech conference years ago, and you mentioned the Obama administration and it's kind of seeing this conversation around tech and like how we need more women in tech and you observed that there was a need for that and that prompted you to now kind of go into that space. And then you spoke about the online network when you started that, and how people were asking you, do you know graphic designer, do you know someone who create websites, and you just observed that need and you found a way to meet that need. But then even with this HUE Summit, so it's something that you seem to be doing again and again or have done again and again in your career.
That's something that like I said, I've honed in on what are some key elements that always exist, and then I realized that I'm good at identifying a gap and what needs to happen to fill it. So, and I guess that comes with my technical training. Just like when you're coding, you got to find the problem. Like you got to hone in on what is breaking this thing. So, I think that's just how my mind works. But then I also have a strong artsy side. So that is where I found what the problem is. Now, what are we gonna do to fix it? Like that's just how my mind works. So.
Got you. And then I know you mentioned that you started the woman network, Tech Women Network in 2017. And then the HUE Summit, you had the first one in 2018. You said, and are these a part of Signature Red? Okay.
They all fall under the umbrella. So I had started the company and pivoted to when I started consulting, and then I had always already been doing events. So I just created this Tech Women Network and HUE, and then I've done other events too. I had Techie Soup Brunch. I've had just other tech events like Tech Repeat, a spa day, a retreat for women in tech. So I've done other things, but the network itself is kind of like the hub now, and then like the summit and anything else, it's happening for those women as well as anyone else that wants to attend.
Are there any particular needs that you feel Black women in tech specifically tend to have or often come up from seeing the kind of like discussions or communication in the network?
I think we have a lot, and things are changing, but some things are staying the same, unfortunately. But you have everything from, just equal pay to just how to move up in the corporate world. So, like, even like myself or just other women that I know that worked in tech, you kind of cap at like senior project manager or maybe manager, but then to get to that next level, like the percentage of us that climb that ladder, it's very small. I mean, it's changing now. You see more and more Black, it's like companies are being looked at, like, what are your diversity numbers? And, this all is just like within a few years that this has been like a big thing to make sure that you have diverse leadership and all these things. So that was one, just kind of moving up the corporate ladder and getting past that ceiling of just, maybe not just, I don't want to minimize anyone's role, but manager, team lead, like that kind of thing in tech. But like let's get to CIO, let's get to, these other levels. So that was one, moving up the corporate ladder. Again, I mentioned equal pay. And then I think just overall respect. Like, we're fly. Like, we're fly, we're smart, we, can work, we can make things happen.
Yeah.
And I just think that, a lot of times that also means that we're, unfortunately, not respected, we're not appreciated, we're not paid well, and we're not given the credit, just credit for the things that we've contributed. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about like the HUE Tech Summit and the theme No More Hidden Figures, because I know that we contribute so much in so many places, in so many spaces, and we're behind the scenes, and people don't know that this person developed this and this person created that and this person solved that problem. It was great that the movie Hidden Figures came out to kind of spotlight that, but I'm like, there's so many more stories about that. So that's why I'm excited to have this platform where, come on, if you want to start speaking, this is a great opportunity for you to like do your first tech talk, or and this is a great opportunity for you to meet with this woman that's amazing, that's like high level, that you didn't even know worked at this company, or maybe you didn't know that this was something that they contributed. Like, let's all come together, everybody. Let's be educated, let's learn, let's get motivated.
Well, thank you everyone so far for tuning into Pepper Soup Talk. We're here with Jumoke Dada. If you like what you see so far, please make sure to subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell on the top right, and give us a thumbs up below the screen if you're watching this on YouTube.
Absolutely. I mean, you're such a game changer. Like, thank you for being an inspiration. Like, thank you for like just paving like the path, right? Like, there's a saying like, taking that path less travel, right? Now you got a million other women like following that path. So I'm just truly like, inspired by for being the first. So again, we are very honored to have you on our talk show, because for me, like, what really resonates with me goes back to this idea of like making sure like, everybody have a seat at the table. Making sure like, black women in particular, having a seat at the table. Why is that so important to you?
It goes back to like what I said, in terms of you need our perspective. We are in this world. If you're trying to solve a problem, we're here. Like, we just have a different perspective. We have a different.
Can you unpack that a little bit, like in terms of like women offering different perspectives? Like, what are some perspectives that I think, especially in tech, where the women offered, or based on what you have learned, that sort of like you think like is important, or man sort of like needs to observe,
sometimes miss,
like,
Yeah, I mean, what's jumping to my mind now, and it's not really tech specific, but it's like the Crown Act, which is that you cannot discriminate against women because of their natural hair. And that had to come about because of what we were experiencing in the corporate world with our hair, and it has nothing to do with our skill. So you needed a black woman to say this is a problem and we need to stop it and create an act, So that's a different perspective. What could someone else, have thought of it and came out and said we need this? Possibly. But it was our experience, and we saw that it, was a problem, and these sisters decided to do something about it. So that's what comes to mind. It's not tech specific, but it impacts me as someone who's natural. It doesn't. My hair has absolutely nothing to do with what I can do. So I think that's an example of perspective.
Right, and that's a powerful perspective too, because sometimes it sounds to me like it goes beyond tech. It's really about like,
it's life. It's like our life. It's our world. And I think if that's one thing the pandemic has revealed, is that a lot of it is what's the word I'm looking for? Like, we have had to merge so much of our personal lives with our professional lives with the pandemic, and one just being home, being remote, and just just so much. So I just, yeah.
I mean, it's incredible again, and it's why I keep pushing you in terms of like to really expand and unpack a little bit about exactly the power behind the work that you do. It's not just about creating the space, but it's also about like there's something powerful about challenging that status quo. So like this way, it's creating a safe space for people, for like in general, like, and then you're also inspiring other people to actually continue to push this boundary, this frontier, right?
Yeah.
And then I just also think like when people hear tech, like most of us minority get intimidated by that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's actually about like also like changing the stigma that comes with it, right? Is there any like, I think this was one of the questions we had, like what are some like stigma or perceived notions that we people of color or like women have about tech that you find that are not actually like the reality?
Yeah, I think sometimes we think it's harder than what it is. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. But I think it's harder than what, it's not as hard as we think it is, and we use it every day. You know, like, so computers, microwaves, refrigerators, like all these things that are part of our daily lives are technology. And they're way, when you start to think about it, you think about, like I recently did something where I was talking about skills, like how one skill, if you don't even work in tech, like if you work at a store, like if you work in retail, right? And if you're the person as the cashier, even that, you have skills that can transfer into something in tech, because you use the register, you ring people up, you let people use the device to charge their credit card. Like you've used so much technology just in that space. You got the website where the items go on sale. Like there's just so much in retail with tech. So I think if people start to connect the dots about how they use it in their daily lives, it won't be as intimidating, and just know that it's like vast. Like there's so much. There's software. There's hardware. There's like tech. There's so much to tech. So everything doesn't have to be coding. And just again connect the dots. Like I think some of the most brilliant people live in the hood. Like I think dudes that are selling drugs on the corner, mathematicians. Like I think like everybody has something that they're doing that can transfer over into a career in tech. You just gotta connect the dots, and you need support. And
incredible. And I think this is why we're so happy to have you on the show. So because for us it's about like honestly recognizing those skills, right? Acknowledging those skills that you have. And I think the power is once you recognize the skill that you have and you learn that like you could actually like be in these space and be successful at it, right? And I just think that's like goes back to again the power of the space that you're creating.
And even though you know, like it's my calling. It's part of my calling with women and girls. But I love the brothers. You know, it's not that I'm like anti-men. I love the men. But this is just.
I was gonna ask that.
This is just in line with my purpose and my calling. And even now, like I'm working on a great initiative within cybersecurity. So I'm like working with men and women. But you know, I think. I don't know. I'm just really excited about just the potential that exists and just getting more people into tech and just helping people like connect the dots and realize that there is a space for you, you know, whether you're a coder or not a coder, or you don't even have to be technical and still work in tech. You know? I went the traditional, I shared in the beginning, I went the traditional route of going through school, but everybody doesn't have to go that route. And now you have so many certifications and stuff.
Like boot camps.
Like you can get in, just break in.
I was very intrigued by the name of your website, the Dadaverse.
Oh, Dadaverse,
And
yeah.
especially because, we've been
what?
hearing a lot of talk about the metaverse and
Listen,
Facebook. Just
She's thought.
Let me tell you.
Listen, you
foresight.
copyrighted?
No, I gotta do that because
Right.
like that's one thing, and I'm like, and I really only recently realized it, and that's not in the whole this metaverse,
Yeah.
but just foresight. Like I have strong foresight, and I didn't know it before or thing. Like everything is just like, like I can think back to things that I thought about. Like even I was telling someone recently, like I just remember being in school, and I was like, oh, it'd be great to have like a virtual world
Yeah.
of people, da da da. And I remember having that thought,
Yeah.
but I didn't know what it was. And then
Yeah.
it was years later, something called The Sims came out. And I was like, that is what I thought.
Yeah.
That is what I thought about. I just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
That's a recurring thing, praise the Lord.
Yeah.
That I have that
You can
ability to kind of think of something, and then it's like I thought of it, either didn't act on it or couldn't because
Yeah.
of just bandwidth. But that I've seen that in my life a lot. Like I'll think of it's like I'm kind of ahead of it.
ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Yeah. And or have been before ahead of your time too.
Yeah,
with
that's how.
certain things that have happened.
Incredible.
Yep, thank you, Lord. God glory.
Now, question: can you just mention cybersecurity? And I know as technology continues to grow and progress,
Yeah.
and as people become more savvy, I know that's becoming a bigger and bigger topic. Can you talk a little bit about the work you're doing in cybersecurity,
Yeah.
and for the average person, what we should be thinking about or aware of to make sure that we're protecting ourselves digitally?
There's so much going on. I don't even. Yeah, that's just a lot. But during the pandemic, like everyone else, I was just being introspective and just really thinking about, what to do. Everything had slowed down. I was supposed to have the HUE Tech Summit last spring, and then everything just stopped. And I was just like, ooh, like, what's going on? And then I just kind of was like, you know what? I've been putting a lot of eggs into this event basket, and I need to step back because now we're in a pandemic. Things, it just made me think about things a little differently. Like, I need to get back to my roots. I'm a technologist. This is what I am, and I just want to make sure that even with me advocating for others, that I don't let my skills just fall to the wayside too. So I was just like, you know what? Well, I need to like do something. Either I'll get a certification in something, but just something to like freshen up my skills. And I just said, okay, well, what am I gonna, do? And there was so much going on last year with cybersecurity, and I was just like, I'm interested in cybersecurity. So I was going to go to a really well-known school here. And do a boot camp, and I also applied to grad school.
Okay.
So I had applied to grad schools because I said, you know what, maybe I can do like a 1-year thing or 2 years, because I didn't know what was going to happen last year. And so I applied to grad school. So I got into Georgia Tech.
Okay.
So their master's in cybersecurity program. And this past year's HUE Tech Summit was focused on women in cyber. So I'm actively working on an initiative to ensure that there's more diverse perspectives and more women represented at panels and events and in the media when we're talking about cybersecurity. And it's called the Making Space Initiative. And then I'm also working on building a database as part of the initiative called Cyberbase to promote, feature, spotlight more blacks in cybersecurity, because there's so many jobs. Like now, just learning about it this year, like in the past few months, like I'm new to cybersecurity. I'm just like, there's so much going on, like in the space, but then there's so much opportunity too. And there's a need, and there's so much of a need for more talent in this space. And then in terms of like what you were saying about just what you should be doing in terms of like just everything. Like, don't click the links.
Yeah.
Don't click the links. Authentication. Those are like basic things. Different password keepers.
Yeah.
But yeah, just don't get lazy either. Like if you every year I host it's virtual for the TW Tech Women Network.
Yeah.
Like a device cleanup. Like January, people are doing vision board parties and all kinds of things. I'm like, use January to clean up your life, like your device life, your phone, laptop, tablets, like clean up all your photos, all your bookmarks, everything. Like just clean everything up every year. You don't need to like carry the same thing over. So take care of your passwords too.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's thank you again for sharing your stories and experience with us.
Yeah.
For those people, again, I don't know if you're having a mid-quarter life crisis or you're just fresh out of college. And you don't know what to do. I hope you're listening, because this might be some sort of like light to guide you to see, okay, where the economy is moving right now, and where do you think that. And lastly, I'll close out with, and I always tell a kid, do not play with Nigerian women. They are serious. Because I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I love your growth mindset. And then you constantly, I love how you never get stagnant, and you always find a way to like challenge yourself and grow. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, like just kind of what I shared, just realizing that like I've been in a great space, to like create platforms.
I didn't mean to cut you off, because some of us struggle with this. We get to a certain point in our life where we get stuck, right? And how do we sort of like now just make that transition, like, and you seem to, again, I just want to get your advice or inputs on how do you go about this process.
Yeah, I guess just knowing that you never have to be stuck. Like, you always have an option. You never have to be stuck or feel stuck or be stuck, especially now, because there's someone out there that's already done probably what you're trying to do. So you just need to tap into the right resource network, make friends if that's, something that you lack. But yeah, I'm like pivot queen. Like, if I'm here and this is not what it is.
That's a word right there. Pivot
queen. I'm like,
that is
pivot queen.
That's going to be the title of the talk.
Is it? I'm pivot queen because I'm just like, I don't really owe anyone to stay any one place. Like, I have to continue to grow and move as I see that's a best fit for me. And that's what I will always do.
Now, to pivot the conversation, pun very much intended, Jumoke, you and I first met at the Innovation Center when you
spoke at something,
and I think you were also you're searching for a location for your dinner in Ankara event.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about the dinner in Ankara event, how you came up with that, and what exactly
so
it is?
I know people are going to be like, this, she got, but it is what it is. So that is, like I said, I've always been into the arts. I've always been into music and dance, and I love my culture. I love being Nigerian. And it actually started with a birthday party. Like, I had, I had a birthday party, and that was the theme, dinner in Ankara. Just, I wanted everyone to just come. And Ankara, like, obviously my Nigerian, like, we party all the time, Nigeria, so that's like normal for us to wear the lace and that. But for my non-Nigerian friends, I wanted them to like embrace it too. So it was called Dinner in Ankara. And just come wearing Ankara, and it went really well. And so after that, people saw the pictures, and they were like, I want to come. I was like, well, that was private. That was like my, friends and family. But there was pictures, and
they want to hop on.
They want to come. They was like, I want to come, and like, I always see Nigerian weddings. I always see this. I don't know anyone I would love. So then I said, you know what? Let me do another one. So I did another one, charged for tickets, dinner. You got dinner and dress, and there was a performance and art. And that went well. So I was like, all right, well. And then people that missed that one was like, oh, bam, bam, bam. And then the other thing that started happening was other people started reaching out. So then I said, let me put this somewhere, because I always need a place for things to live. Like, that's my Dadaverse. It's just like, Dadaverse is my entire world. It's like my portfolio of things. It is. I do different things. It is what it is. So that's what it is. It's like my portfolio of things. So then I created an Instagram for it. Yada yada yada. And then I trademarked. Came up with a logo. So then it continued, and then I was traveling. I was going to Nigeria, so I was like, I was going to speak at a conference, and I asked them, hey, I'm thinking about hosting a dinner. They were like, okay. So I did dinner in Ankara, Lagos. And then people were reaching out to see if they could host one. So then I started thinking, okay, well, I don't have the bandwidth to just be flying here and there. So I said, maybe this is something where I can just create a template, and if someone wants to host one in their city, they can. So that's what I was after the ones in 2019, that first one in Lagos, and then I had one in my city in the fall. That was my plan for last year, to just create this model and let other people do it, but then the pandemic hit. So I didn't. So then I said, okay, well, I still want to do something, and started cooking. So I'm like, I like to cook the food. And then I just held like a virtual cooking class, and that's all I did.
Wow.
So that's like my creative outlet. When I talk about like the whole entertainment thing, like I love, like I'm really into in my personal life, like entertaining, like hosting people. I love game nights. I love all of those things. So that's dinner in Ankara is like my creative outlet outside of tech.
This is also another pivot, just because I heard you mention it earlier. You said you got your real estate license.
I did.
Did you ever use the license, or?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I got it from Temple as well. So I bought my first home, and then people were asking me like how I went about it. It was soon after college, and then I was referring people to my real estate agent. And then one day it clicked, and I was like, oh shoot, I should get my license. Why don't I get my license? And so I went to Temple, and I took the test. So I got my license, and that's when I had decided I wanted to get out of tech. That's when I was doing. So it was a period. I was doing it for about 6 years, 6 to 7 years. Like I recently like let my license kind of go, because I just realized I'm not going back to it. Like I would always have the knowledge to buy, but I'm not going to be showing homes to people. I'm just not. It's just not a passion. It's not an interest.
I feel that.
Yeah. We have had a lot of guests coming on our talk show, and I'll have to say you all are the most versatile.
It is. It's very multi-hyphenate, multi-talented.
And I just hope like our viewer will literally find way to follow you and find you.
Find me. I'm on everything. I'm Jumoke. I'm on everything. I don't do the TikToks and Snapchats, but I'm on everything else.
Yeah, TikTok's a bit much for me.
Yeah.
But again, no offense to our viewers, because I know
you don't do TikTok yet. You don't do TikTok yet.
But it's incredible. Again, go ahead.
So some question that we always like to ask as we start rounding out, and I'm very interested to hear what your answer is to this given our conversation. We like to ask what you're looking towards in the next, let's say, like 5 years, and usually we ask kind of like what your plans are. But what I'm very curious about is, what do you see when it comes to technology? And we talked about metaverse. You have the Dadaverse. Like what do you kind of see coming down the pipeline over the next couple of years when it comes to technology? And what are you most excited about?
So I think overall for me, I'll share one of my long-term goals for me personally is to teach.
Okay.
So I think all of my experience that I have is not for me to just keep, it's for me to give to others. So that's long-term, like before retirement, I want to teach and I want to be an author.
Okay.
Long-term. And then as far as tech goes, I think there's just going to be a lot happening. One, in the AI, artificial intelligence space. There's a lot happening in the financial, like the fintech and crypto and all of that. There's a lot happening there. As far as what I'm excited about, I think I'm excited not so much about the technology, but just the possibilities of what we can create when we get more of us in the tech space. Yeah, like I think we're like we're covered with a lid that's ready to like burst. We're such creative people, and I'm excited to see like who creates the next whatever, like I'm excited for that. There's a genius out there somewhere that's going to create something amazing.
And I think it's powerful you say that, because I think what we're seeing now is like the emergence of technology that's also coming from the motherland, Africa. And it kind of like that really resonated with me, because what we're seeing is like a cultural reflection, a technology that's actually like embedded in the culture, right? And I see where the tech is also going. Like Africa is like really, what's your thought on like Africa and tech? And
so, I love the continent, first off, but I think so.
Amen.
I'm specifically like this next summit, HUE Tech Summit, is global, right? And I thought about HUE Tech Summit Africa. I really wanted to do that, right? But I think that I think that there are just so many brilliant minds there, like kind of like what I said here, like untapped potential, because we come to other countries and we thrive. We become neurosurgeons and computer scientists, and engineers, and medical doctors, and all these things. And we that are here were able to do that because we are in an environment that supported us learning and being educated and applying our skills, to a certain extent. But then you have the same people that have that same capacity, same ability in a village somewhere, but just hasn't been exposed or had the opportunity to learn or, just be supported, etc. So I just think that because of what they have access to now, like they're on Twitter and they're on social media, and it's so unfortunate that a lot of the countries, they just aren't. It's frustrating too, but it's just that. It's unfortunate that we have so much talent that doesn't get to develop, or you have people with PhDs that go to school and then go back to the village. Like who knows what problem this person could solve. So I just think that with the development of like more connectivity, like I said, like through social media, I think that they are able to see more of the world and how we're living, and push through some of what's holding them back as much as they can, and I think that some major solutions are going to come from Africans. I really do. I really do.
Yeah,
that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you again. I'm just so excited. I'm excited.
Yeah.
You seem very optimistic about the future. Some of us
I do.
We're like questioning the future.
Look, I can't. I can't have I've always been like a glass half full, visionary kind of person, and I cannot even allow myself to think that this is it. This is it for it's just gonna always be a struggle. It's just gonna always be I just can't think that. I think there's always gonna be those people that push through and break through and make change, and that's why it's important for you guys and women like myself to just do what we can. We're all of African descent, and to do what we can to inspire and encourage and give back.
Yep. My last question. This is a serious question.
Why?
Very serious question.
Don't go serious.
We got a lot of serious answers for you. It's a very serious question. No, it's actually a lighter question. Which country has the best jollof rice?
Nigeria.
Come on.
Nigeria. But I will give it. Nigeria is it, of course. But I love.
I sense a little bias in you.
No, I was gonna say what else. The other one I love is Senegalese.
Thank you. You made me not my order. Thank you for giving me Senegal. You getting a shout out right here.
The Senegalese, they're good.
Shout out to the Senegalese jollof.
Yes, But
Yeah.
yeah, I gotta give it to Niger.
All right, that's it.
All right, so my last question is about Philly, because when you decided to start your company,
Yeah.
and during that time, you decided to start a company versus going to another job.
Yeah.
But you also decided to stay in Philly versus move back to New York, and not even just New York, Brooklyn, New York. Again, the same way I feel like most people would have gone for another job. Most people probably also would have moved back to New York.
Yeah, most of my friends did. Most of my friends left.
What was it that kept you in Philly?
A couple. It was a couple.
That's a personal question because
Yeah, no, it's a couple.
no, why you ask that question?
No, it's a couple of things, and I can't say that this is my last stop either. You know, like I definitely, it's not. I can say that. You know, really. So,
So you're gonna pivot.
it was a couple of things. Like I started working. I had a job as soon as I got out of college. So whereas some friends didn't, they just moved back home.
Yeah.
So that was it. And then I bought a house a couple years after, like 2 or 3 years after. So then now I was invested, and then that just continued. I bought another. You know, I started buying. So that really was it. That, and I had a great support system, and relationships, and then like even church home. So it was a series of things that made me stay, but always knowing that this is not my
last stop.
It's not. It's not. Like, it's just not.
Right.
It's not.
We always ask our guests this question. This is my last question. So if there's a 7-year-old version of yourself sitting in front of you right now, given everything you've been through, given everything that you know, what advice would you have for her?
You know, my advice. Okay, one thing before that. It's just the great thing. Philly has a lot of great things, but I like that it's affordable.
Yeah.
And it's the geographic location, like for going to like DMV and New York. Like for me, that's like superb. So that's one. My 7-year-old self. I would say don't dim your light. You know, and when you get to, like, don't dim your light and trust yourself, you know, because I think a lot of, like, when I gave some examples earlier, like thinking about The Sims, or like there's things I used to think of, but I would like put it out of my mind, or just not, because I just didn't know. But these were things that were like really like good things. So I think, like, trust yourself, like trust what you think of, and like see it through. Like that. Like, I think a lot of times I would either get intimidated, or I just wouldn't be confident enough to like go up to someone and say, oh, you know, I'm thinking. I would just kind of put it out of my mind. So don't dim your light. You're a very smart, brilliant woman, young lady, girl at 7. and just, again, don't dim your light and trust yourself. Like, trust yourself. Like, what you see, what God tells you, like all those things, and take off. Like, I think a lot of times, and I think this is something in African cultures too, like, or for women, we're supposed to be like humble and just, you know, like quiet, and like, you know, not draw too much attention to yourself. And those are things that you come to a point at times where that's like a struggle, because you're trying to be humble, but then you also are like brilliant and made to like be out there, but then you're like pulling yourself back. So no.
Jam after jams.
That's a lot of food for
a lot of knowledge.
I thought.
Yep.
Where can people find you?
I'm in the Dadaverse. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. Again, Jumoke Dada. I am LinkedIn. I tweet. I'm on everything, so you can easily find me.
Jumoke, it's been
Dadaverse.com, Dadaverse.org.
Dadaverse.
Dadaverse has everything. Tech Women Network, HUE Tech Summit.
You can find it everywhere.
I'm everywhere.
Find it everywhere.
If you find my name, you'll find me.
Yeah, Jumoke, the queen of pivot.
The pivot queen. The pivot
The
queen.
pivot queen. I messed up. I apologize. So the pivot queen. So again, thank you again for coming on our talk show. It's been an honor to have you.
This is cool.
Yeah.
You're excited to see where you take things.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's not the last time you're on Pepper Soup Talk.
Definitely won't be the last.
Yeah, come back. Yeah, let you guys know what's the 2023 pivot. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, let's see.
We will be ready.
You'll be ready. Yeah. Thank you. This is awesome.
Well, this Pepper Soup Talk. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Peace. She still got her New York swag.
Yeah.